From the Mecca of Mormonism, Salt Lake City, Utah, this is Heart of the Matter, where we're learning together how to walk the Christian life in the age of fulfillment. I'm your host, Shawn McCraney. I want to begin with kind of a frivolous topic tonight that might engage you a little bit. It has to do with one of America's most favorite foods of all time, pizza. Let's cover a few statistics about pizza so I can set the stage. 3 billion pizzas are sold every year in the United States, totaling over $40 billion in annual sales. That averages out to 350 slices sold per second in the country. More than 41% of us eat pizza every week, with 1 in 8 of all Americans eating pizza on any given day. Roughly 17% of all restaurants in the U.S. are pizzerias, with more than 10% of the country's pizzerias located in New York City. There are 70,000 pizzerias in the nation, with 25% of those owned by Domino's, Pizza Hut, and or Papa John's. What's interesting to me is the number of platforms there are out there where pizza can be obtained. Because of its popularity, there is obviously going to be a wide range of ways people choose to experience pizza. A place called Industry's Kitchen in New York City offers the most expensive pizza in the world. It has a crust that's infused with squid ink, black squid ink, topped with white Stilton cheese, very expensive, foie gras, caviar, truffles, and actually contains gold leaf. There are places in Chicago that charge $170 per pie. On average, the typical mom and pop specialty pizza runs in the high $20s to $30 range. And some people like pizza from nationally recognized sit-down chains like Olive Garden, Macaroni Grill, or California Pizza Kitchen. When I was a kid, we had places that sold pizzas. We called them pizza parlors. They were pizza parlors, and they're still around. Places like Shakey's, Me and Ed's, and even Round Table. That's Southern California, at least. And some places thrive by selling pizza by the slice, like Sbarro's in New York City, to mom and pop restaurants everywhere. And of course, there are the delivery chains, large and small, that will give you hot pizza right at your door within 20, 30 minutes. Then once you get inside the home, there are people who they like making their own pizza. Some people take a boboli, that's a crust that was developed a while ago, and they take that pre-made crust and then they make their own pizza. And then still there are those unique souls who want to make pizza from scratch, and they cook them in different ways on barbecues. They take the flour, they mix it up and such. Really unique pizzas. And then after all that, we get to the frozen pizza section of the grocery stores that you can locate dozens of different brands. And you might not be aware of this, but frozen pizza is one of the worst foods you can eat for cholesterol, because in the crust, they have additives to that crust that are just riddled with cholesterol agents. And so it's down to the frozen pizza being really bad for you if you have a cholesterol problem. Back when I was a kid, they sold these boxes in the stores. Where I lived, they were called Appian Way, and it came with the sauce, and you made this home pizza made easier. It was pretty terrible stuff. But consuming pizza is not only a delicious experience for people, the varieties are seemingly endless. The environments that you eat them in are vast. The price points are wide, and the community experience of pulling from the same dish of food can be a really bonding, fun thing. Pizza, in and of itself, to me, is absolutely amazing. I love it. It is just something. I was interviewed years ago by somebody, and they asked me what were some of my evidences of God. And I said, I think the variety of foods on this earth are an evidence of him. And the atheist community had a big laugh at me for that. But I maintain that position ardently. And I consider the variety of foods on this earth one of the purest, simple, simplest, most amazing evidences of a loving God. And our analysis of pizza consumption is just taking one product among hundreds of thousands that human beings create, adorn, and consume in a variety of satisfying ways. So I used to be a staunch defender of a pizza place called Lamppost Pizza in Huntington Beach, California. To me, I said it was the best pizza on the face of the earth. And we would go there when I was in high school after games. And then we would take our own daughters as they were going to school. And we would do things at Lamppost Pizza. To me, it was simply the best. That's what I would call it. And as I grew older and traveled outside of my hometown, I would always compare every pizza with my friends to Lamppost Pizza. And initially, nothing could compete. That was it. Then I started seeing that there were some pretty damn good pizza places out there in the world, and that there were topping combinations that worked surprisingly well. I never had a Canadian bacon and pineapple at Lamppost Pizza, but when I went to college, I had some and it blew me away. And then my sister introduced me to pesto, and that blew me away. And so again, in my youth, the best pizza was Lamppost, and the only topping was pepperoni and cheese. But exposure to these different styles and tastes of other pizzas around the United States in later years helped me see that what I assumed was the greatest pizza in the world from Lamppost was really just good pizza in my own hometown of Huntington Beach. Of course, looking to our purposes here on the show, let me get to the point. I want to apply pizza eating to the religions that we embrace and we support and attend, as the comparisons between religion and pizza consumption include the fact that people often have their favorite type, their favorite way, their favorite producer of both products, religion and pizza. Of course, when I was young, the best and only true church on the face of the earth was Mormonism. My little ward and stake there in Huntington Beach. No debate. I knew it. I testified of it. And it was what I knew. It was what I taught over and over again. Mormonism is the only true church on the face of the earth. Just like Lamppost Pizza is the best pizza on the face of the earth. I even went to another state in the nation promoting Mormonism as the only true church on the face of the earth, which is akin of me going to another state and going door to door and knocking on it. And when someone opens saying, I want to share a message with you, Lamppost Pizza in Huntington Beach is the best pizza on the face of the earth. Once I came home and I started to learn about spiritual nutrition and historical truths and the variety of different religious flavors in the world, I ultimately saw that my favorite pizza religion was not all that it was cracked up to be, that there were other approaches to God that were better tasting, more nutritious, and in the end, far more satisfying than the frozen stuff I had cut my teeth on. The point being is this is our nature, our flesh and blood and brains that, as a means to survive in this world and make our lives the least complicated as possible, we latch on to favorites. We label them as the best. And then we look at everybody else's favorites and their ways and we say they're inferior. They're no good. We are living, folks, in an age of fulfillment. What that means is God, through Yeshua, his son, overcame sin and death in the world and reconciled the world in that day to himself. This amounts to there being one way. I'm going to call that one way pizza in general. The one way is pizza, written large. And the way is known and experienced and enjoyed in 1,000 different expressions. He, Christ, is the pizza, writ large. He is every type of topping combination. He's every price range. He's every sit down. He's every delivery. He satisfies the craving for God, the appetite for truth, the satisfaction through love. He has parlors, he has stands, he sells by the slice, he sells by the pie, home delivery, all of them, every one of them using his name and teaching his ways are of him. Just like every place that says we serve pizza is serving pizza. He's not a calzone. He's not spaghetti. He's not lasagna. He is pizza. But he comes in a lot of different approaches. We often make the mistake of demanding that all forms of pizza conform to our favored styles. We pick on people who prepare and eat pizza differently. And we promote our special ingredients as the only true pizza on the face of the earth. I think we've made a great mistake in this approach, and I think we only evidence our ignorance as people and of him by continuing in it. Did you know that there are Muslims who have never had access to the United States or other parts of the world who try and make pizzas in their own homes? They often use ingredients that we would be unaccustomed to, different sprigs of local seasoning or roasted goat meats, but in the end, the product is pizza. Do you realize that when God placed all things in the hands of his victorious Son, who once and for all took care of the price and payment of sin, that God is now all in all, and to argue over whose view of him are superior is as juvenile as my saying lamppost pizza and Mormonism are the best in the entire world. It shows you how limited that I let myself be out of convenience. Do you realize the Lord God Almighty is calling all to receive his Son by the Spirit, and that another way to say this is to say he's calling all to receive the Spirit of his Son? Receive his Son by the Spirit, or receive his Spirit, the Spirit of his Son are synonymous, right? And that the Spirit of his Son is one of love, meekness, patience, kindness, forgiveness, long-suffering, generosity toward others, especially those who don't deserve it. We are so bent and blinded on being right and the best and having it all down in both our pizzas and in our religions that we overlook the realities of the Christian faith. It's love for all people, all the time, always, as it's described in Scripture. Whatever you like in your religion, have at it. You want to put pepperoni on it, sausage, goat, cheese, basil, whatever. I know a guy who used to put ice cream, licorice ice cream on his pizza in Pennsylvania. Whatever your topping, I guarantee that's your personal preference. But in the end, if the end result, the verb, the action of that expression is not agape, unconditional love for all, you're eating an old, frozen, cholesterol-ridden pizza that is inferior and is hurting your heart toward God. Write your comments below. We'll read them tomorrow night here on Heart of the Matter.